Welcome to the greatest Commander podcast in the world. Today, a year in review.
We're finding out if 2020 stacks up to being the year of Commander.
I'm your host, Joe Cherries.
I'm your host, Beezy, and that makes us the Nitpicking Nerds. You're probably watching this on YouTube, but you might be jogging or in the car or jogging in the car, in which case it's also a podcast. That's Wednesday's video. Go to Spotify, Google, iTunes Store. That's where you can find and listen to us.
Yes, and if you like us, you can join our Discord, chat with us, hang out with us. We're pretty cool dudes. Join Patreon to help support the channel. That's a great way to support the channel. And if you really like free stuff, like a Walking Dead secret layer, hit that follow on Twitter. As long as you're followed on Twitter by a couple days now, by the end of December, you will be entered to win.
Yeah, if you skip these little tidbits in the beginning, you're screwed. You don't follow us on Twitter, you're out of the contest. Sorry. Patrons also get one.
Yes.
So, super incentivized.
Yes. Okay, so hopping right into this. This was, quote unquote, according to Magic themselves, the Year of Commander, which is an interesting title. So things were supposed to be very awesome for Commander. Were they? Well, we're not going to say right now, because that'd be boring. If we just tell you the answer at the beginning, what's the point even having this video?
What's the point in, you watching for an hour and a half? I don't know. Who's actually coming on for a one-word answer anyway?
Exactly. So we're talking about things like precons, reprints, the sets, the mechanics, and the philosophy of Commander that has happened this year. And we're going to talk about it all. We're going to go over it all, probably give it some grades. I was thinking like a good thing to do here. I didn't mention this to Bees. I probably should have mentioned it before. Just grade like first thing we're talking about precons.
A to F? Like an A to F scale?
Like an A to F
0 to 100?
Yeah, A to F sounds good.
A to F. Okay. Well, precons, we had 3 different sets. There was the Commander 2020, came out most recently, of the Wyleth and AC. Mm-hmm. And there was Zendikar Rising before that. And it was, what's his name? Anawan and Obun. And then there was the Commander Legends, or not Commander Legends, the Commander 2020 product that came out with Ikoria, which was the cycling deck, the mutate deck, the keyword deck, help me out here, copy spells deck, and there's one more.
It's like, or was it?
The humans deck.
You got there. I knew you could do it.
From the top.
So we have all these decks coming out. Let's start with the ones that came out first. Commander 2020. These launched with Ikoria simultaneously. So what that means is they had linked mechanics, such as mutate.
I just listed them actually, so.
Oh yeah, that's true. But they had linked mechanics. So like things that you're going to see in draft and Ikoria, you're also going to see in your Ikoria Commander set.
Yes, unlike the last couple of years they've been doing it, they just did, all right, here's 4 decks. We chose Tribal and its Eminence. It has nothing to do with the other sets. This one is like specifically tied to Ikoria. All the legends are from Ikoria. There's all the mechanics of Ikoria. So I mean, they decided, hey, we're just going to make way more precons than usual. We usually do 5 precon power-ups a year, and we've done, 5, 9?
Yeah, we're going to be starting next year with them, too.
Yeah, exactly. They're just going to keep doing it. It's literally just more product for Commander. The new precons that aren't the once a year have been way cheaper, too.
Okay, so let's start with the once-a-year Commanders. What do you think of them? What was your overall takeaway of them?
These ones were pretty solid. I think all of them, because we did precon power-ups, so we're pretty familiar with all the lists. They were all like the strongest I think we've ever gotten them, aside from like the busted cards, which there's always some busted cards in there. But I mean, like the core of the deck seemed a little stronger, and the most recently produced 1v1 precons were also pretty like good. The reprints, I feel like the reprints are almost never up to par in these precons though.
No, I feel like we get a lot of just dollar bulk rares, and so often. You'll have to speak for this because you are much more in tune with these precons. We get those reprints that just don't make sense, like the Zotolpas which we will never let go of from like 2 years ago now.
Yeah, well, it was in the flashback deck.
Yeah, it's just like, what was that? That was one of the worst. It's just they like to throw them some weird, and they love to throw like dollar reprints. These aren't even reprints we're asking for or need. And Commander sets I don't think are the best place for random reprints. If you want a reprint, you got to put it somewhere else. I get it. If it fits, it's like Zotopa fit this time.
It fit the counters deck. It was literally like the best card in that deck.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like that makes sense, but you can't force reprints.
Yes. The one mistake from Commander 2020 the free spell cycle, that's just dumb. I don't think you need to just try to like push to sell these with these hyper pushed cards. That's the only, I mean, that's one of my biggest complaints about this whole year. It's just hyper pushed format staple stuff they're just throwing at you instead of having you discover and work on synergy. They're like, here's a free negate. Here's a Black Lotus variant.
They should have had more downside to them. Instead of just being free when you have your commander, it should cost either less when you have your commander, or maybe you pay some life, or something along those lines. Something that's more of a downside.
Something that requires synergy instead of just being a free roll. Every deck can do this. Every deck has a commander, so it's not that hard.
Yeah.
What about the Zendikar Rising commander decks?
The Zendikar Rising commander decks were $20 each, so they're pretty cheap. We got the lands one and we got the rogues one, and overall they were okay. They weren't too bad, especially for $20 decks.
For $20, it's like the best way to get like a Christmas present. Like, you give this to somebody, they're trying to learn Magic, or they've learned and they want their first deck. You can just buy two, one for you, one for them. It's so cool. Yeah, both of them are the price of one of the other yearly precons.
Yeah, and for power level, how would you compare them to Commander 2020?
Oh man, that's tough to say.
It is.
I mean, I think probably about even. I mean, just the decks felt more, they gelled better. I think Commander 20 probably had more good stuff in it.
Yeah, the big yearly products for Commander tend to, somebody mentioned liking this, and I'm actually not a big fan of this. They tend to put what is the remnants of 3 starts for decks, like 3 different archetypes, and then make those, and then shove them together as one deck. And I don't like that. I wish they would focus more like the Zendikar decks, where it's like, this is a rogues deck. This deck is rogues. It's not doing anything else. It's just trying to be rogues. It's
evasive, rogues, and mill. It's trying to get that threshold of X cards milled, deal damage with evasive rogues. It's all it's trying to do. Not, there's always the Commander A is the headliner of the yearly sets, but then there's Commander B and C, which can be in the deck, but then you don't need 5 cards to work around Commanders B and C. You're just never gonna, whenever you draw them, it's just a whiff.
Yeah, just like I really didn't like Cathro was really cool and I liked it, and then there was that Luminous guy,
the 3 CMC card.
That card was weird and I did not enjoy it at all. I thought it's just like a waste of slot for me. It's like, put this in a set, just put this in Ikoria, throw this card in Ikoria, print it there. That's fine. Commander players can take it if they like it, but I don't want that card.
Yeah, it's a little identity crisis in the Commander 2020, but Zendikar Rising knew what it wanted to be, so it's more synergy.
Yeah,
might have been stronger.
And then Commander Legends, actually, we felt like this went down a little bit. It's a little less powerful than the Zendikar Rising ones, but still good. We got this weird. I hated how bad Wireless Sword was. That was sad.
The new cards were kind of whiffy from these.
Yeah.
There's only 3 in each. There's the Commander and then 2 new cards. Icy's good. Wireless good. Trove Warden was from Boon's deck. That card ended up being. I think that card's really good. So it's really hit or miss on what they are. The octopus thing from AC kind of sucks.
Yeah, exactly. But overall, I think these things were pretty good. Commander Precons are great, and getting extra ones for especially $20 for a product that is accessible, playable out of the package, gets players into Commander. I love those. I think the ones coming out with each set are all-stars, and I absolutely love them. Like, they don't have to, like the Commander 2020, it feels like those are super push for Commander. These feel like they're more supplemental product, where it's like, we want to get players into Commander. This is an introductory product.
So 2 more things, and then I think we're going to move on.
Okay.
Number 1, Commander 2020 precons were made before the Zendikar Rising ones, as far as I know. So that means that the Zendikar Rising ones is where they've left off design-wise, because I know Commander Legends has literally been in design for like 6 years.
Okay.
So they're something stupid like that. So they had this already, and then Zendikar Rising, the best version of the precons, is we're going to probably get more like that. And I'm not going to complain too bad about the new cards being crappy or requiring more synergy or just goofy fun cards where like I wouldn't play them in my 8-9 power level, because I literally just complained about them printing perfect 10s. I would so much rather have janky stuff that makes it in 1 in 50 decks than 20 in 50 decks.
So what would we give these? Let's go F to A.
You gotta go first.
I'd give them like a B+. They're great. The Zendikar Rising and the Commander Legends ones, I feel like are a perfect place. I love the $20 price tags on these for all players. And the Commander 2020, they felt samey as the years before, honestly, in my opinion, where it's like super push cards, some okay reprints, a lot of really bad reprints, and a terrible mana base.
Identity Crisis. I hate the mana bases are always so bad. I don't know why.
But again, I like Commander product, and I think that I still like the Commander 2020. It's just I feel like I want the focus decks of the Zendikar and the Commander Legends.
They all play well together. None of them are like broken. There's not one that stands out as busted over the rest of them. And we did all of the pre-con power-ups for these where we add $50. All of those decks were very good. Like all decks could hold their own. They left room, like you can play combos, you can do stuff. So when if you're trying to upgrade these decks, which most people are, I think you're either playing them against each other, which they're perfect for, or upgrading it, which they don't require much upgrading to actually be a deck that is a contender.
So what's your letter grade for this?
I'll probably like a B or a B plus. They're definitely a little shy of an A. There's a few mistakes that we talked about. But I think if we go take the lessons learned from here, improve, absolute A plus coming in 2020.
Okay. Moving on, we're going to reprints. We're going to talk about the reprints we got this year. Were they awesome? Were they terrible? And what are some of the best ones? So starting at the top here, I wanted to mention this right away. I think that getting many commanders in etched foil and Commander, and they mostly just come in Commander Legends. Collectors boosters, but I think it's really cool. It's a cool way to pimp your commander deck, and they're not super expensive, especially if you're looking to get one right away. You can get most of them for like 10 to 30, depending on the commander.
No, it's like 5 to 30.
5 to 30. It just depends on the commander. It depends on which one you want, but they're not too pricey, and they're really nice foils. Maybe they bend. I'm not too sure. I'm not one of those people who goes into card quality a lot.
Well, we also have like 20 of them, and I haven't seen any of them bend.
Okay, so yeah, I'm just saying, like, I don't look at the card quality too much, and we sleeve our things right away, and we usually try and keep them unbent. But these are great, and I think the etched foils look great, and they were still the reprints of so many awesome commanders just getting that new printing.
Classics like, Carador, Nekusar,
Maelstrom Wanderer,
everything like that. Queen Marchesa.
Even Muldrotha came out like 3 years ago, still getting a nice
they picked like the most popular ones.
Yes.
They cast a very wide net,
which was awesome.
So glad to see those. And now we're talking about individual cards. What are these, like the 11 best?
These are
individual reprints.
These aren't necessarily the 11 best, but they're some of the best. Like the reprints we got this year that like took the prices in like at the beginning of the year. I got the prices you could get this card at the beginning of the year, and I got the prices you can get them for now. We'll start at the top. Azusa, Lost But Seeking. This card got really popular in Modern, actually, and it's driven the price up. It was like a nice $5 to $10 commander card, and then the Amulet Titan really got popular in Modern, and now it was a $20 card in January. This January coming up, get one for $6
because they put it in a core set. Core sets are going to destroy cards when you put them at rare. That's what happened to like Scavenging Ooze. They just kept putting it at rare, and that card's going to be $2 or $1 for like at least another year. There's just too many of them, which is perfect. That's what we want. We want every card to cost 5 cents. We don't want any barrier to entry.
Yeah, actually, a good thing. Well, just speaking of M21, reprints galore. We're going on to another one from M21 right here. Grim Tutor. You wanted one at the beginning of the year? You had to pay $220.
Or now it's $11. This is literally. It was the top 5 of cards that needed to be reprinted ever. Like it was top 5.
Yeah, it's up there, and this is a great reprint. I love getting this in the core set. I think it's such a perfect place to put this card. The card's not busted. It's not doing anything in standard. You shove it into like core sets get opened a ton. You shove it into the core set. You get them out there. Sure, this card will be probably $30 next year this time, but the fact is, you brought it from $220, an unreasonable price, straight down to $11.
This can even be like a budget tutor. It's not one of these $60 to $100 tutors. It's not that good in CEDH, so it's just kind of like a mid-tier tutor.
Yeah, exactly. Next, one from Zendikar Rising. Actually, we have Lotus Cobra. This one was interesting. At the beginning of the year, you can get one for about $10 from Zendikar, but now the ones from Zendikar are higher because they're in standard and people want the Zendikar art. But you can get one from Zendikar Rising for only $3.
$3. Lotus Cobra is like a staple of landfall decks. It helps you just combo off.
Well, the card is incredibly strong. I play an Omnath deck. It's so good. When you have this on turn 2, you feel like you're cheating because you're playing Omnath on turn 3 every single time. You're probably going to have extra mana to do extra things. Feels good.
Next up is Mana Drain. Got reprinted. It was $80 at the start of the year. And now you can get one for $51.
Yeah, not too bad at all. This card is an absolute staple of Commander. If you want one, I would suggest getting it now. In the next month, probably is going to be the key time because this card's only going to go back up. The card is insanely strong in Commander.
They're only reprinting it at Mythic. It's one of those Mythics only. And we can basically take Tarmogoyf as an example of they had to print that thing like 6 times. And now it's like 30 to 40 or something, and it's starting to fall out of Modern anyway.
I think that one of the things we're saying here is this is different. If they print this as many times as Tarmogoyf, it'd probably still be more, because I think with how popular EDH is, EDH doesn't take the dips like Modern does sometimes, where it's like not popular, and decks don't change as much. Like Mana Drain, it doesn't matter what deck's popular. Mana Drain's going to remain popular.
There's no meta.
Yeah, exactly.
That's EDH.
You don't need Jund for Tarmogoyf to be good. Anything, Mana Drain's good.
Yeah, card is actually stupid. So now you can get one for slightly less, and I think you're going to be regretful if you don't get it now and you want one. We've done that before with cards like, $30 is still too high for this, but I'll buy it. And then, 2 months later, it's 60, and you're like, woohoo!
Yeah, Vamp Tutor was one of those where it's just like, I picked one up for like 40 like a year or two ago.
Yeah, same.
And I'm just like, oh, God, that's so much for Vamp Tutor.
Yeah, we'll talk about what it went up to later.
Well, we can just bring it up now. Vamp Tutor, actually, at the beginning of the year was $70, and then in the middle of the year spiked to about $120 mid-year, down to $45. Very nice reprint, feels good. Again, get your Vamp Tutors now. Again, CDH staple, so it's going back up.
It's not for long. It is not going to be $45 for very much longer. Maybe it'll dip to 40. Press your luck if you want. You might hit a whammy though. This thing might just spike up at any moment.
Yeah, it could easily spike up. It's a great card for EDH. If you're playing at high power levels, highly suggest getting one.
Next, Rings of Bright Hearth started out at $40 for one of these cards that I don't even think is that good, but now it's only $6. I would look at this and say, yeah, it's a $6 card.
I agree completely. It's a $6 card, but it hasn't been reprinted in so long. When was the last printing of Rings of Bright Hearth?
Lorwyn?
Yeah, exactly. That's so long ago.
Never. It never got reprinted.
Exactly. And that's why this card just crept up. Lorwyn just being, 15 years ago now? It's insane.
Pretty much everything from Lorwyn block is super, if it hasn't been reprinted, it's $1 million. Like we saw that with Bloom Tender.
Yeah, exactly. It was so much money. Down to $6 where it should be. This is a combo piece. It's nothing else. The card, I don't want to play this card in a deck as a value engine because I don't.
Walkers?
Well, yeah, I just don't. It's not where I want to play this card, and I don't like the card in that kind of deck. But I will gladly play it as a combo piece. $6, not bad for this card.
Feels about right. Scroll Rack, card that I was basically on the train of, they're never going to reprint this and it'll be $1 million forever. But nope, it started out at 60. Now it's only 25. If you really need a scroll rack, go get one.
Yeah, this is this card feels also like a specific specific decks want it, such as like Yuriko. They really want this. There's the manipulating the top one with the odds. What are the odds, guy?
Yenit.
Yeah, those. If you care about the top and manipulating the top, that's when you care about this, because this isn't really a card advantage engine. Also very good with shuffle effects. If you're playing lots of fetch lands, high power level, scroll rack can be a huge thing.
I mean, it's close. It's closer to Sensei's Divining Top, but nobody would know that because no one's playing it because it's $1,000.
Yeah, that's
I think
true.
it's kind of can go in a lot of decks. Now it'll probably be appearing a lot more. Next, Staff of Domination. This is weird because this card is just a suboptimal way to win with infinite mana. You draw your whole deck. It was $33 at the start of the year. Now it is appropriately $4, and I would say, don't play it then. Don't play it now.
Yeah, I don't think I would ever play this card, but it's an awesome reprint. Again, people like. We're not here to tell you exactly what to play in EDH. You should still take, regardless if we think this card is very bad in EDH and we would never play it, you could still play it, and it going on the $4 is very helpful for anyone who does want to play this card.
If you want it, you now have it. Staff of Domination is a classic because it was one of the first ways to do that stuff, so I don't fault anyone for playing it.
Yeah, I feel like it has a lot of nostalgia to people. That's probably one of the main things. Like, it was one of the best infinite mana payouts probably early in Commander, but it's just not anymore.
It was in early Commander, it was a mana sink. You're like, all right, tap your guy, untap it. Draw a card for 13 mana. Living the dream.
That's all it cost you? Dang.
What a deal.
This is a great reprint. It's Thought Vessel. It's an uncommon in Commander Legends, and it's super good. It was $7 at the beginning of the year. You can get one for $1 right now.
This is actually a staple. This goes in tons of decks. More decks than Reliquary Tower, for reference. And this was one that kept creeping up. They reprinted it maybe once or twice. Wasn't good enough. this got the job done.
Yes, thank God for this one. I really appreciate these stuff. These reprints are awesome. We're gonna get to a grade at the end, but as you can tell, these are pretty good. Look at these price drops here. We have like $30 differences, even like $7 on like something like Lotus Cobra. That's so good for a Lotus Cobra.
Yeah, for rares, and there are like even high power uncommons like 3 Visits, also in the top 5 of desperately needing reprints in all of Magic. 66 to start the year. I personally could have sworn I saw it around 100. Maybe I'm hallucinating. Maybe you also saw that, but now it's $3.
Something I want to mention about this one, that's a huge price difference, and you should get, if you play green decks, if you plan on building green decks in EDH, you should have like 10 of these on hand because it goes in every single green deck. Same with Nature's Law. Those ramp spells are the best 2-mana ramp spells in EDH. They're insanely strong.
This card is better than Rampant Growth and Farseek and all the 2-mana ones because the Forest comes in untapped. The one thing we want to mention, it's not an uncommon. I don't know if you guys have experienced this. Let me know in the comments, but we've done at least 20 drafts of Commander Legends.
I was thinking more like somewhere between 10 and 15. I think that's where we're at.
Coming up close to 20 drafts of Commander Legends, and I have never opened one. I have never seen one. I think in the entire time, there's been 2.
Yeah, and that's what we know. That's what we know of. There probably was a couple more, but it's really strange to me that I don't see this card ever. And I know it's probably being taken highly because people value it, but it's just like, it's really strange to not. I have never opened one, ever.
Well, half the time we ask the whole table because we've been trying to figure this out since box number 3. Why we're not seeing 3 Visits, and nobody ever has them.
Yeah, no one ever opens 3 Visits. It's like really strange.
It's printed at a rarity I like to call Fatal Push, where it's not what it says it is. It's not an uncommon. It's like a rare.
Drives me so nuts. And another great reprint for this year, Ugin the Spirit Dragon in Core Set 21 at Mythic. It was $60 to start the year because Tron really loved these in Modern. $19. If you like Ugin, if you're going to play it in Commander, you really got to get it now.
This is the haymaker to end all haymakers between the 3 to 8 power level where it'll just come down, dominate the board. We know Ugin's great. He's one of the best planeswalkers.
Exactly.
Now he's $20.
So those are some of the best reprints overall, price-wise. Moving on to the next little thing, I got cheap but good reprints. These are cards that we didn't need necessarily to be reprinted, but we're certainly not going to complain because it's great to get more of them into rotation.
It helps keep the price down, and it's a preemptive reprint. It's instead of first one, Arcane Denial. Oh, if you don't reprint it, it'll go up to $5-10. If you do, it'll stay at $1, and no one has to worry about it.
Yep, Painlands, another great one.
Bajuka Bog. That's a classic land.
Yeah, lots of Signets got reprints this year.
Chaos Warp.
Decree of Justice.
Fabled Passage, they're printing into the dirt, which is great.
Yep. A Generous Gift getting nice reprints because Generous Gift, even though it just came out like last year in Modern Horizons, nice that it is going to keep getting reprinted because we don't want to see that card to go to the Beast Within originally hit like $5.
Oh, yeah. Grave Merchant of Asphodel printed in the first set this year, which was Theros, which we haven't talked about yet because it didn't get any precons. There's Hour of Revelation, the pretty good board wipe.
Yep. Mentor of the Meek. We just need more Mentors of the Meek. Notion Thief. Great hate piece. We got Swords of Plowshare and Path to Exile. Both great exile pieces for white.
Solemn Simulacrum. He's back. We can't stop printing this card. Please don't.
Soul Ring. If it's going to stay legal, keep printing it. I would prefer not stay legal, but that's another topic for another day.
We already did that.
Yeah, but still another topic for another day.
It's been done. Sun Titan.
Skylands. I mean, I will take Skylands all day. They're great budget cards.
Arcane Signet. That's another, probably one of the most in-demand reprints because kind of a design mistake. Shouldn't have done it while it's out. Let's just give it to everybody. It's like Soul Ring. Don't ban it. Give it to everybody.
Yep, exactly. And Viscera Seer, another great one. These are all really cheap. And these, we also got, besides the cheap reprints, we did get like some reprints in some product that didn't affect price too much. Mostly, just quick mention, Jumpstart and what was the other one? Commander Legends Green. They didn't do much to affect prices going down. So they more just stayed up. But we got great reprints in those. Just like 2 or 3 quick ones. Eternal Witness, Savala, Shieldred, and Sylvan Library.
And also, to reference a few more, because I hate not having these all here. Karamitra, Masqueror, Cathars Crusade, and Shieldred, I think you said.
I did. Okay, yeah, I guess I just missed 2. But yeah, there's way more of these too. I just put the ones that I thought were the most most referenceable. There's lots of great cards. Another Creator of Behemoth, another one in Jumpstart, where it's like getting more of them is great. It's an effective price. I think it might in the future. They're doing another wave of Jumpstart, I know, and if maybe that'll affect in the future, but I don't know, and I can only judge by what I know right now.
We'll talk about it later with the set ratings.
Yes, and another thing to mention right here, you might have noticed, we didn't mention any Double Masters cards in there. That's because Double Masters had a million good reprints. We did the video all about Double Masters and how good the reprints were, and we thought they were great.
I forgot about that.
Yeah,
we did do that. It was a whole video. If you're curious, go check that out. It's everything we mentioned in that video is what we like.
So Reprint Grade, I think this is an A+. This is about as good as we're going to ever get for reprints. And I think if the next year is as good as this, I will be very happy. Keep this up for reprints.
I don't think I'd ever give out an A+, because it can always be better. And until I learn why it's not, I'm going to give it an A and say, great job. I would expect better next year. And then next year, I expect better than that.
Well, the thing is, I think I have to grade it as what they're doing. They have reasons for doing things, and I can't really fault them for doing it their own way. They have research teams. They have marketing teams. They have lots of people working on this. They understand it a little better than me. I think these reprints were insanely strong, so I will give them an A+.
Well, they also don't acknowledge the secondary market as much as anyone playing the game. Mm-hmm. They say they don't. That's their official stance. They obviously do, in an annoying way. But we're getting good reprints, so I'm not gonna complain. Nothing much to complain about for reprints. I'm just saying, all right, cool. Let's up it up. Let's up the stakes. Bring it on.
Stop complaining.
I just can't stop nitpicking. Next, new cards. We talked about the reprints. All that's left, aside from reprints, is new cards. What new stuff did we get? Much powerful stuff. We actually talked about the 20 best. I'm wondering how many of those we could rattle off the top of our head now from memory.
I mean, I don't want to rattle them off, really.
I probably could.
Yeah, I could. I mean, I could rattle them off with you, but it's more like we listed the 20 best cards. If you want to really know what the good cards from this year are, I'll go watch that video. But there's cards beyond that. There's probably like 50 good Commander, I would say, if you go into archetypes, staples. So, because if you're going into, like, and what I mean by that is, like, if you go into, like, counters, there's staples for counters. And, like, but they're not, there's most of them other than, like, the SWAT cycle. Or not the SWAT cycle, the
free spell?
The free spell cycle. And, like, a few other things here and there that are just too good. They're mostly just middle of the ground, don't go in every deck, but still extremely strong.
And then there's the MDFCs, which aren't busted, but do go in every deck. So that was, like, the perfect little sweet spot they could have ever hit. These are going to just go in like infinite decks, like literally infinite decks. We talked about them infinite times, so I won't go into more of that. This is kind of like everything you need here for the year of 2020, but we're not going to repeat ourselves ad nauseum, so we're going to reference our old videos, probably link them all in the description.
Yeah, exactly. I would give this a solid, probably a B+. Other than like things that were Hull breacher levels.
Jewel Lotus.
Yeah, the Jewel Lotus, the cycle that we talked about a few times now. Other than that, I was happy. Like I think a card that really fits like my want for like perfect power level is Opposition Agent. It's really good. Mm-hmm. It's really strong. It can go in a lot of decks, but it's not broken.
Sometimes it doesn't even do anything. It's just a really swingy card. I will say that they didn't peeve me off too much with our least favorite design, which is a commander, which is a legend. So it can be a commander, and it says enabler text and then payoff text, where it just literally helps itself, like Corvold and Chulane. The one I'm thinking that comes to mind is Kinnan, where he says, hey, make a bunch of mana. Oh, here's a way to use it, guys. I think that was really one of the only ones I can think of that, I hate that design. I hope they never go back. But there wasn't much of it.
Yeah, we don't need that. The cards need to do one or the other. It's like if my commander says make a bunch of mana, hey, I get a bunch of mana. Or my commander could say use a bunch of mana, and then my deck can make a bunch of mana.
I mean, it can do both, but there's just not. Nope, it's been done before well, and not in the past 5 years hasn't been done well at all. It's just these. I look at it and I just would never build it in 1,000 years, and that's not what you want to see when you look at a commander. Some people want to because this is a strong card for a sacrifice deck, but I want some tension of my card's going to work or not.
Yeah, exactly. Ugh. They just pay themselves off, and no one likes that. We got a few. Well, you didn't give it a grade. New cards.
B+, same as you.
Okay, sounds good. Now moving on to the new mechanics from 2020 and how they impact Commander. So the first one, Mutate. This lets you like put a creature on a creature, and they become one creature essentially. It's really strange, and there's a lot of rules to it that we really can't go over right now. But overall, I don't think it's very good for Commander because it ends up just being card disadvantage usually.
It's kind of stinky. Most of them give you your card back, but the mutate cards, I'm not against them being the power level they are. But at that power level, most of them don't fit in to most decks. And you can't really... The mutate deck is its own thing. So yeah, every new mechanic's kind of going to make its own deck based on the mechanic, more or less. So that's cool, but I just don't think that you're going to throw like a one mutate card in a deck very often. The one exception I found so far, there might be more, is Scoot Swarm. I like having a mutate with Scoot Swarm because it copies the whole stack, which is pretty sweet.
Next, we have ability counters. These are like counters that give you things, Vigilance, Death Touch, that kind of stuff. There was lots of in Nikoria. Also, just feel like not very good for Commander. We get the deck like Cathro, which is a deck in its own. But overall, there's just not too many cards. Slippery Bogbinder sticks out as a cool one, and there's one other one. What is it?
Daring Fiendbonder. Those are the two best ones. Those are the ones that kind of transcend the like keyword deck, and they can go in multiple things. If you're trying to protect your commander, and you're like milling, you might want both of these cards. Those cards are really sweet. Skullbriar just randomly was like having the best day of his life. That old 2012 commander. He's back in action with a bunch of abilities. They're cute. They're nothing format warping or anything, but they're overall fine, sure.
Yeah, exactly. Escape, a great mechanic that says you can replay a card from your graveyard by exiling some cards and paying whatever the alternative cost is.
Yeah, none of these cards really were that great. There's Uro and Kroxa. Are there any other ones that were like crazy good that made the format?
Cling to Dust is perfectly reasonable, especially good in probably more of a CEDH where it's just going to stop random things.
Yeah, it's a cantrip.
Yeah, it's very effective. Not too many crazy ones. No. Like you
Sentinel's
said,
Eyes was good. I like Sentinel's Eyes.
Sentinel's Eyes very, very good for enchantment decks. Nothing crazy here. I think the mechanic is stellar, but
pun intended.
They played very safe with it.
And I appreciate.
Other than Uro, obviously, but Uro was a design mistake from a ton of different perspectives, and I don't think the escape mechanic was where they made the mistake.
And yeah, it's not busted in Commander. Uro just blend. He fits right in. Come on, buddy.
He's a very good Commander card. Yes.
Yeah, he's really good, but mana drain it. Don't care.
Yeah, exactly.
Nonsense like that. Oh, Encore. Commander Legends, it was the only new mechanic. They wanted to keep that set simple, which I love. We'll talk about that later. But it says, exile from your graveyard, get 3 copies if you have 3 opponents. They each have to attack that player. Encore is super cool. It feels balanced. The cards feel like they're actually impactful. I think at least 5 of them I could see making a splash in the format.
And there's a lot of cool splashy ones. If you play more of a casual type deck, like I really, really like Rakshasa Debaser. Oh, I love that card. I think it's too expensive for what it does, but I think it's like it's actually Grave Titan-esque, where it's like coolness is up through the roof, and if you can really get it going and do something cool with it.
Unlike Grave Titan, I'll give it the better than Grave Titan award. Unlike Grave Titan, it actually from the graveyard will do something every time. If you just have to pay 1 million mana, but I'd still rather have that feature, because if it's going to stick out, yeah, all right, great, good for everyone. You're going to crush people with it. MDFCs. I'm going to say this is the best mechanic for EDH maybe ever. I don't know. It just lets you put extra spells in your deck for almost no cost, and we've covered it so much. That's all I'm going to say. You want to add anything?
I do want to add something, because MDFCs, I believe, going forward, I think they were mostly lands in Zendikar because we're in Zendikar. So I think we will see either very few or maybe no lands going forward. So they won't be as good going forward. We're going to see like equipments, we know we're going to see probably a 5 cycle of gods, where on one side you have a god, the other side's an equipment. We're probably going to see stuff like that more in Kaldheim. I think we're going to see weaponry or a creature is going to be very common. And not so many lands. So those will not stick out as much as these lands did in EDH.
No, lands are special. The lands are almost the only one I even care about. The rest of it becomes spell territory. The lands are special because they create new opportunities in your deck. And I think it would be foolish from a design perspective to stray away from lands. You can do both and mess around. But I think if there's not lands, the limited environment's worse. Zendikar Rising is literally one of the greatest limited formats ever. And part of it is because of the MDFCs being lands.
Yeah, I think what's going to happen here is I think this is going to be a plan in advance thing that they didn't realize how good this would be for limited.
They had to have. It is impossible not to see, hey, I can play 20 lands in my deck and 14 lands in my deck. I'll never flood, I'll never screw.
Maybe you're right about that. But on the same note, they won't be as good going forward. We definitely aren't going to get as many lands because we're not going to be in Zendikar.
Ooh, give us more. Party is the last one.
Yes, Party. This is a mechanic that is really cool for draft, and outside of that, I think this is one of. It just doesn't interest me, I guess, is the way to put it.
It's like a blank. It's only going to make a party deck. None of the Party Matters cards really go anywhere, so I don't see a point.
One thing I do like about Party is it feels like this is where they said, oh, wait a minute, why don't we do class race? Which I like. I think almost every card should have class race. Nothing should be a generic soldier. Nothing should be a generic human. A human has, like, if it's just a human citizen, human peasant, whatever. Give me something to go with it, because it makes sense that everything has a class to go with its race.
Yeah, that is probably the start of the push. Now that we've seen, they're probably bringing back Phyrexian as a class, so you won't get like horror drone. It's like Phyrexian drone.
Well, it's a race.
That's the race. I'm saying I didn't say which one they left
said,
off. I said they want both.
Oh, you said they would bring Phyrexian as a class.
As a type? I thought I said type.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Whatever. Doesn't
let us know what I said in the comments.
Let us know that BZ misspoke in the comments.
Unlikely. I never lose these comment wars. Never, ever.
You lose like all the comment wars.
75% loss.
So, yeah, those are new mechanics. I think overall, just a C. There's nothing crazy here, and I wasn't super interested. Encore and MDFC is very cool. But I think the other ones just bring them down because they weren't very exciting.
Yeah, I want to see more Escape. I want to see more MDFC. The rest, take it or leave it. They're about neutral. No bad mechanics. Maybe Party was bad for Commander, but it didn't hurt the format.
I think ability counters, Mutate, and Party are boring for Commander, and that doesn't excite me. Escape, there wasn't enough cool cards to really impact the format. Encore, there was enough cool cards that didn't impact the format, and MDFCs are amazing.
I won't hate on Mutate because it was exciting. It just didn't work out. I'm cool being super hyped, like, whoa, this is crazy. How does this work with these 8 cards? Like, what's going on? I can put this in my deck. Does this go in? And it just ended up not being that playable, but I was totally fine with the amount of hype, and I won't hate on it for that.
Yeah, one of the problems for Mutate, actually, is that it's a super casual mechanic with super complex rules.
Yeah, it's like it feels like it was inspired by the unsets, where they're just, it doesn't matter in the unset. You call a judge and figure it out yourself. Go big, play it by ear. But this is, okay, wait, what if one's my commander and you put them to the command zone? What happens? It's like, oh, obviously, both cards go to the command zone and now one of them is uncastable.
Real things.
Okay.
All right, moving on. The standard sets. And this is something I want to go over quick. Standard sets, putting cards into Commander. The way they did Core 21 was perfect for reprints. So perfect. I think every core, this is what a core set should look like going forward. I felt it was a fun draft set. It's not like it was this insane draft set where I'm like, I want to draft M21 all day. But it was a fun draft set. Within that set was a ton of cool Commander cards.
With no detriment to any format, I don't think. Ugin was the worst one for Standard. Mm-hmm. Not that we care, but we're going to mention it. Ugin was like the worst one for Standard. But the rest just kind of bounced off of it. Standard is so powerful right now anyway. Grim Tutor was never going to be a Standard player. So glad they reprinted it.
Yep. And besides that, there was a ton. Pretty much every set has given us top Commander cards, which feels really awesome to get.
Well, we can start. Theros Beyond Death was the first one. We got Thassa's Oracle. We got Heliod's Intervention. We got 5 new gods to mess around with. We got Uro and Kroxa from the Escape things. It was just a bunch of Soul Guide Lantern. That card was amazing. That card's going in a bunch of decks.
Yeah, exactly. And then it's same thing. Ikoria, a ton of them. And you can go through every set and you can list, just like BZ did, like at least 10 cards that are great from every single set. And that's awesome. That's what I want going forward. I don't need to be the year commander for them to do it. They can just be like, hey, look at this set just has a ton of cards for it. And I think a lot of people don't like it. It's a weird thing where they don't like that cards are made for commander instead of cards just happening to be good for commander.
I think it's a valid complaint. It's also impossible to avoid. Wizards is allowed to market to their best format, although I would say I think it's lame that they look at commander and then they go, all right, let's make cards just for them. And then most of the time they get it wrong because we don't want the free counterspell. We just want to have to dig through our chaff pile and find something in most cases. If you want to play competitive, you don't really care what you get. You just build the best deck anyway.
Yeah.
So I would say most players would just like the not this power creepy thing. I like No Culverholts, please. No True Lanes. I think that's super lame.
Yeah, I think they make mistakes, but I think it feels like they're learning from their mistakes, and there's always going to be mistakes. It doesn't matter. The fact is, you can never be perfect when designing a game. You're going to make design mistakes. Players are going to see things that you don't, even sometimes if they're like, how could you not have seen that? Like the cat, Saheeli cat. How'd they miss that?
Saheeli cat and Witch's Oven Cauldron familiar, like just big, like, whoo, hostage taker. But back then, just was printed wrong. So this won't affect the Commander grade, but I think this year of Commander, hopefully they stop doing what they've been doing, which is let's make other formats closer to Commander. I think that was kind of dumb.
That's weird.
Maybe it's in hindsight, but either way, it was really dumb. Companions were like messed up. They messed up every single format. The whole rule had to be changed. The cards don't do what they say they do.
Then the other thing I don't like about Companions, I want to mention this. Why weren't they built to be for Commander instead?
Yeah, what? You whiffed on 2 of them. One of them got banned in 5 minutes, and the other one is literally unplayable as Companion.
I think Companions are super cool design space that could have been done so right instead of this. I think that the rule was perfect for Commander. I think they should have been put in Commander sets. Don't worry about ruining Legacy and Vintage. Forget those.
Those aren't really formats. Although, let me fix everything right now. Can we just change the hybrid symbols to Loris now costs 1 black, white? Why? The hybrid, too far. That was definitely one of the many steps they took too far.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh, these look cool for Commander. And then they spoiled Loot Tree. You literally can't play any Commander.
Because it's free.
That was so
You're
stupid.
talking about Yorion. You can't play. Loot Tree is free, and now you can't play it.
Well, he's banned.
Right, but you could play it for 5 minutes.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You literally was banned 5 minutes after.
Rightfully so. It's a free roll. Every blue deck should play it with absolutely no downside. There's no restriction. The restriction is play Commander. They should have not had that one. That should just not have been one.
Yep.
It's Loot Tree did nothing anywhere. No one was talking about even building a Loot Tree deck. Even the janky streamers weren't building Loot Tree decks. Maybe 1 or 2.
I tried one.
In Standard, it's just not a thing. It's a thing in Draft.
Yorion also
actual unplayable.
Actual unplayable just because of the rules of Commander. Silly. But for Standard sets, what we just went over, giving us great cards. I give it an A. I like the way they did it. Could it be better? Yeah, a little bit, but not too much. I'm happy with what we got.
The year of Commander for the Standard sets was like an A, and literally for the other formats, it was like a D. It was like, whoa. We made a lot of mistakes.
It's a good thing that we like Commander.
It's a good thing I don't ever plan on making a Standard, Modern, Legacy, or Vintage video. Or a Pauper video.
Maybe eventually. Maybe not anytime soon. We're talking about Commander, baby. That's what we're here for. And then finally, last but not least, the thing that just came out 2 months ago now, Commander Legends. Holy crap. For this, me and BZ, it was an absolute home run. The reprints felt so awesome. They're great. The power level for draft feels very good. The draft games are fun and they go long enough, sometimes too long, but usually not. Usually something crazy happens and the games come to an end.
I'm baffled at how well they balanced a 4-player experience. Every game, you start at 40 and the life totals just slowly go down all the way until you're at 15, and then things turn into like this scrappy free-for-all. And every time, I don't even know how they did it. It is amazing. I want to thank them for... We're going to probably have done at least 50 in-person drafts by the time we die.
So some crazy stuff about this worth mentioning is we've played, like you said, we've played a million games. And I only didn't have fun in our first game, and it was a wacky rare being enchanted with an uncommon and then a mythic rare and it was like this weird contrived situation that would come up 1 in 10,000 games.
Well, not only that, we played wrong. We played 2 games of 4-player pods that went into a winner's pod with the 2 first places. And Wizards must have thought of that because they're like, hey, just play 1 game, don't worry about it. And we're like, well, we want to play for something. Now, ruined all the fun. Literally sucked all the fun and tension out of every single game, so don't do that. But we learned real quick.
Yeah, exactly. But there was also that weird contrived situation that it
was both.
It weirdly would never come up again. It literally, like I said, mythic taking a rare that was enchanted with an uncommon.
Plus politics.
Yeah, plus politics stacked on top of it.
Caused by erroneous outside decision. Can't happen again. The format is amazing. It never gets stale. I still have decks that I want to try. I want to build. I built a Casket Dargo deck that deck destroyed everybody. I want to do that again. I want to build another Keskit deck. I want to build the Artifacts stupid Golem deck that we always make fun of.
I love all the interesting things in the draft format. There's so many cool things. We want to know what I've learned? One of my favorite things to look at, the 6-mana black, 2 6-mana black commanders, Saren Bengir,
Saren Bengir.
Baron Sengir and Nadir. It looks like, if you look on paper, and we did this, we looked on paper, Baron Sengir looks a lot better. He's not.
Nope.
It's not even close. Nadir is a way better commander in that draft format.
He might be the best black partner.
He is insanely strong, and he fuels himself, and he just keeps going. That card's it's crazy, and I love that about the format, because like those value engines like that are so much better than a big giant creature, because you're just gonna draw spot removal with your big old creatures.
And they know about it.
Exactly.
It's public. Nadir cannot be spot removed. You're always going to get 6 power for 6 mana on 4 bodies minimum.
Yeah, another problem, Kamal, he draws such a huge target. It's like,
Kamal.
He reads, cast me from the command zone, win the game. No. Kill him.
Or kill somebody. So they're either going to stymie your board or stop Kamal.
Yeah, exactly. It's a tough one. Yeah,
It's so cool. There's this. I want to do it all. I want to build the Scry deck. I want to go completely ham and take every inch of this format where I can discover it.
Red was so open. Me and BZ were sitting next to each other in red. That's how open it was at our table.
Red is underdrafted at our table every time.
Yeah.
Our play group underdrafts red.
Yeah, I got my favorite thing was we draft very casually with this. We don't we talk and mention stuff to each other while we're drafting. We were very casual about it because it's a friend group and nobody's being competitive about it. The guy sitting next to me goes, "I'm not passing this to you. I'm not passing you." I'm like, "You don't have to play me." He's like, "I'll pass it to you."
Yeah. I'm not passing this. This card's broken. It's like, what if I told you? You don't have. If you pass it to me, you won't see it.
Yeah,
in your game.
You don't have to play me. Oh, I don't care about that.
Yeah.
Then the guy next to him who had to play me goes, No, don't pass it to him. He's like, well, you should have taken it then.
Yeah.
It's so good.
He done goofed.
Commander Legends A+, not even close.
Plus.
Yeah, this was perfect. This is perfect. Also, another thing that I didn't mention about this, holy crap, the partners are done almost perfectly.
And I don't know how many cards there are that are unplayable from it. There's like 4. Every card has a use, and we were hating on some of them. We were wrong about almost all the ones we were like, this card sucks, because it just has a use.
Yeah, I agree. This set is very well balanced, very well done, and awesome. And like I said, I talked about in the past how I thought they shouldn't do partner anymore. Yeah. And they should only do partner with, because I thought that was it's a much cleaner and easier to do mechanic without messing up. They nailed it. This was perfect. The power level of these partners is literally it's not literally perfect, but it is as close to perfect as you can get.
Totally. Just to go over it, I think the only 2 unplayable cards are Howling Golem and Demonic thingy. It's the 3-mana draw 3, and then you lose a bunch of life.
There's also like that the artifact that comes down. You have to pay mana to draw cards, and it costs more for each card. I don't think that card's very good either. But
yeah, but as far as unplayables, there might only be 2.
Yeah, exactly. But overall, this is the year Commander. Let's give it a final grade for the year. I would just say, I think it's simple. I think it's an A. I think they really nailed this year. From a Commander perspective, when you sit back, especially if you don't talk about Standard, you don't talk about all those other fronts, because it's not what we're here for. We're here for Commander. Honestly, absolutely nailed. Is there things that could have done better? Of course. We don't need these free spells. We don't need these cards printed for Commander like Hull Breacher, but still awesome.
Yeah. Mistakes, Arcane Signet, free spells, Jeweled Lotus.
Arcane Signet was last year.
Wasn't it the Throne of... I'm thinking, Throne was last year.
Yeah.
That kind of mistakey stuff, I'm giving it an A. Amazing. I don't have to worry about Omnath getting banned 2 weeks after if it was. I don't care. This format's awesome.
Yeah, it's a really cool commander. Actually, I play it as my commander, and one cool thing about it is I took the power level down, and the deck still feels super fun.
Deck's annoying.
Do you not like it?
No, it's good. It's just annoying.
Oh, okay.
It's like, Omnath again. He just keeps casting it because the first Omnath ramps you into the second one. This is good.
Yeah, it is a very good card. But that's our video. Year of Commander, huge success in our opinion. Keep it up, Wizards. We appreciate how awesome this year was.
This has been a Nitpicking Nerds podcast production. You can find it on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play. That's where it is. You can also find us on YouTube. You should subscribe. If you've listened to this point, I can't imagine you not subscribing. Check us out. Discord, free to join. Like us that much? Enough? Join Patreon. If you do it before the end of the month, which is really soon. Twitter followers, get an entry into this giveaway. Separate giveaway for patrons. 2 giveaways. Join both.
Yes, there's 2 giveaways, one for Patreon, one for Twitter. You can win Walking Dead Secret Layers. We literally purchased extra ones just to give away because we knew people didn't want to. There was like a lot of like, some people don't like them, but hey, we wanted. I really hope we get to give it to somebody who couldn't afford it. That would feel really good.
Like if you can't afford this $50 product, you're never going to be able to afford the 121. Not never, but you obviously can't afford the 121. Mm-hmm. So I want to give back to the community a little bit. Also, we love our fans. We want to do like infinite giveaways.
Yeah, they're just exactly. So support us. We'll keep supporting you because we love you guys.
Absolutely. That's tidbit about our life for the end of this there.
Yeah, we're doing extra videos this week. We're working with a new editor. Something I want to mention. That again, if whoever's watching this isn't like a shit anymore. We're trying to find amateur editors to start working with. We obviously can't afford a professional. We want someone who likes Magic, likes editing, and wants to work with us and
likes us.
We're trying to get somebody to grow and work with us from a point, but it's obviously, that's just something I wanted to throw out there because it's like, hey, if you like editing and you like Magic and you like the Nitpicking Nerds and you like bananas,
Revenge of the Sith memes.
Oh, if you like all 4 of those things, join the Discord. Send me a message. Send Beezy a message. We are looking for people to potentially work with in the future.
But this isn't a job posting by any means. This is just saying, hey, know an editor? Have them talk to us.
Yeah, exactly. Amateur, not professional.
Well, also, it's not an opening. It's just something we're considering.
Yeah, exactly. We hit us up. Talk to us. I mean, if nothing, we will at least talk to you about it.
Yeah, we'll talk to you. Sure.
Yeah, exactly.
Talk to anybody.
Yeah, exactly. That's true. We're heading out. I just wanted to let people know that thing. Did you got anything about your life? Tidbit?
That we have the same life.
Tidbit?
That was my life. We just talked about it.
You got tidbit?
We're done.
Peace out, Tribes. Go.